Good morning again. If I can have everyone's attention, we'll go ahead and get started with our media availability here at Dover. We welcome Matt Kenseth, driver of the number 20 Home Depot Let's Do It Toyota. First in points, 7. Let's do this, Toyota. Let's do this.
Oh, don't mess up their hat.
Let's do this again. 7 wins. Let's do this again this week.
No, it's just let's do this.
Let's do this.
Get it right.
Let's do this. That enough?
You haven't seen the TV commercial?
Let's do this. We watch Disney Channel at my house.
All right, carry on.
Let's do this. 7. I do. I like that. Matt Kenseth, driver of number 20 Home Depot Let's Do This Toyota. First, I want to be the commercial.
You sound great the first 6 times. I'll carry on. Let's go on to the next
First in points, 7 wins so far this season. Talk a little bit about being in Dover this weekend.
Yeah, glad to get here this weekend. I've always loved this racetrack, and with the momentum that we've been having and the finishes and performance and all that stuff, I just honestly couldn't wait to get back to the track. So glad we're here, ready to get started with our day and get back to work.
Okay, we'll open it up for questions for Matt. Please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. Claire, right here in the front, then we'll go to Jim.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Your crew chief was saying, when you win, it's what you guys are most concerned about is finishing consistently when you don't win, at tracks that you don't win at, making sure that, you don't lose any ground and stay up towards the front. How do you looking at this particular racetrack as it relates to just consistency?
Well, I think like any other track, go and try to do the best job you can, of doing a good job at the things that we can control and not worry about the things we can't control. So, to me, the approach doesn't really change. I think, there's way too much competition to really ever change your strategy or approach unless something weird happens and you get down in the last race, like you've seen Jimmy a lot of times, and something might change that. But also I think it's the same. I mean, you go and, try to put your best foot forward, try to qualify well today. Today's all about trying to get a little feel and race trim and then try to qualify good. Tomorrow go to work on trying to get the best race setup we can, and then Sunday go out and race them as hard as we can. And, hopefully we're in that front group and, in a spot to go for a win. And if we are, try to go for a win. If you can't get that, finish as high as you can, just like we try to do every week.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Jim. Go ahead.
Jim Noble, ESPN and Sirius XM. Things couldn't have started out any better team-wise from a JGR standpoint. At this stage of the year, is there anything you learned this season about Kyle Busch that you didn't know about him before you guys became teammates, personally or professionally?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think the more time you spend around anybody, probably the more you learn about them and their personality and their traits and strengths and weaknesses, things like that. I think the more time you spend around anybody, you kind of learn that. So certainly, yeah, there's more you learn about him. I already knew him, fairly well and knew a lot about him, but certainly working side by side with him, you learn more about somebody.
Is there anything that really impressed you about him this year, more so than any other?
Kyle was, probably about what I expected. I've been around Kyle quite a bit and have raced against him a lot, and we've raced late models together and all that stuff. And Kyle's all about racing. I mean, that's almost 100% of what I think he really enjoys and focuses on when he's not racing here. He likes racing, nationwide cars or trucks or late models or whatever it is. So he's pretty much all business, real focused, real dedicated, works real hard at it.
Okay, we'll take our next question from David, then go to Mike and Bob.
David Caravella, NASCAR.com. Matt, I have 2. First of all, I think you talked after Chicago about how you guys would maybe lean on Denny a little bit for help at New Hampshire. Did you do that? Did his setups help you guys or anything last weekend?
Well, yeah. I mean, we always lean on all our teammates. Certainly, Denny's got a lot of places he's really, really strong at. New Hampshire's one of those. So I think probably more so when we went there early this spring for the tire test and the first race, probably more so than the second race, but certainly looking through everything going back there, a lot of the stuff we looked at and a lot of the notes we had and stuff is from things that, I learned from him or leaned on him about. So we all ran a little bit different stuff last weekend, but certainly, certainly try to always use all the resources that we have. and especially when you go to a track that's one of their real strong suits.
Do you get a feel for how he's handling kind of being the odd man out here at Gibbs, with you, Kyle, being in the thick of the championship hunt, and him kind of trying to help you guys along as he can?
Well, I don't really exactly look at it like that. I mean, I know what you're saying when it comes to being in the chase, being the odd man out, but certainly he's not the odd man out at all when it comes to meetings, trying to perform, try to finish. I mean, he's still got a lot at stake this year. I know he wants to run the best he can every week. I know he wants to get back to victory lane this year, get everything kind of rolling along, get some momentum back, get that feel back in the team, like everything's clicking and going good again before the year is over. So all three of us hopefully are ready to get into next season, carry that momentum more of the off season and build on that and get ready for 14. So it's not like it's a wasted year. All these races are big. They're all really important to him, to his race team, to the organization, to his sponsors, all that. So still got 8 weeks to get that thing rolling, and I can feel it getting better here the last few weeks. The performance has been getting better. We've been getting a better feel for things, and certainly I think he's on the right track. I'm sure it's we haven't sat and really talked about it a ton, but I know it's been a really hard year for him from it all started with getting hurt, obviously.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Mike, then go to Bob, then up to Steve.
Mike Hembry, USA Today. Matt, does it make a difference to you, preparation-wise or otherwise, that your main competition for the championship could come from the shop there?
No, not at all. I mean, not from my standpoint. And again, I mean, I know I keep saying this, but we're only 2 weeks into this thing. There's so much racing to do. I don't know if you know who your main competition is going to be, or if you're going to be part of it when we really get down to it. I mean, there's 2 months of racing to do. So, really thankful that we've got the start that we've gotten, and that 18 has as well. Kyle had a dominant, maybe not dominant, but real strong car at Chicago, I thought, between the two of us. And last weekend made up a ton of ground there right at the end, and pulled a second place out of it, and was one of the strongest cars at the end of the race again. So that's really good for both of us. It's good for the whole company. So I'm glad that he's got the start that he's got, and that we've got the start that we've got for sure.
Next question, go ahead, Bob.
Bob Hocker, Sporting News. There's been kind of a lot of debate on whether it's kind of a three-man race now, or maybe only 6 or 7 guys who really have a shot. Does it matter to try to maybe put guys kind of away early, in the sense of, if you can kind of cut it down to maybe 4 or 5 guys who really have a shot over the last 4 or 5 weeks?
Well, I think that's good if you're one of the 4 or 5 guys that you say. So, I think as I've watched it chase through all these years, there's always guys that get far enough behind where they're basically eliminated. And I was one of those guys last year after we got out of Dover. Knew that it would take a small miracle to get back in it. So I think that happens every year. If you ask me where I'd like to be, I'd like to be out front. I'd like to be out front as far as you could possibly get out there. I mean, I think that's the best place to be. You hope to have a lead, and you hope to build on that lead. And I think when you get farther behind, that's kind of when, not necessarily your strategy changes, but where you maybe try things that you wouldn't typically try, and you kind of get out of your comfort zone, or the things that you've been doing, to get you there, and all those kind of things. And that's when I think you're more open to making mistakes or things going wrong. So I think obviously happy with the start we have, and hopefully we can build on that and keep our performance and reliability, all those things, and keep getting some finishes.
Okay, we got a question up front here with Steve, then we'll go to Al in the back.
Steve Richards with PRN. Looking at the statistics for Kansas, you're going for 3 straight wins out of Kansas. What is it about that track that you've taken to lately, and how difficult would it be to, it's pretty difficult to win 2 in a row at any place. What about 3?
It's difficult to win 1, so, Kansas, obviously it was brand new, paved, reconfigured for last fall. We had a fast car there last fall, and then circumstances worked out the way we had to pit and fix some damage, and ended up being in the front. Obviously pretty tough to pass with the new pavement there. And then this spring we just had an unbelievably fast car, and was able to fortunately turn it into a win. But we just had probably one of the best cars I've ever drove there. in the spring, and fortunate enough we turned that into a pole and a win. So I don't know. I mean, things change a lot. Going back, they're bringing different tire back there. We all have a little bit of a test day there on Thursday before the race. So you always look forward to going back to tracks where you've had some good fortune at and some success at. So we'll just go back there and, hopefully we still have that speed and that balance, with this new tire. And if we don't, hopefully we can, get that dialed in and have a good day again.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Al in the back.
Yeah, Matt, Al Pierce from Auto Week. The history of the chase is that every champion has had at least one bad finish. Some have had two bad finishes. Occasionally a champion will have had three bad finishes. How many do you think you could endure or survive? And are you sort of mentally thinking, well, somewhere we're going to have a bad day, and let's just kind of get ready for it?
Well, to answer your last question first, no, I don't have that in my mind. I don't want to have any bad finishes. I don't think anybody does. I mean, I think you want to have a best finish you can get every week. So that's what you aim for. I really honestly do take it just 1 week at a time. Each weekend, try to focus on that track, that event. Try to run as far toward the front as we can and finish the best we can. As far as how many bad finishes you can have, it depends. It depends what everybody else does. I mean, that's the only magic formula to the chase or any championship or anything is to have more points than the people you're racing against. And it depends where they all finish and how many points they have for what it takes to beat them. Every year's a little different, and I use the example of Tony all the time, but Tony won a championship in the chase by not winning any races over the final 10, and then he won a championship in the chase by winning half of them. So, like I said, there's no magic formula. You just you have to have more points than than your competition. So, really I'm 100% focused on, the 20 team and trying to finish as high as we can every week and get as many points as we can each and every week and just go from there.
Any final questions for Matt? Okay, we'll take one from right here in the middle in the back and then come up to Lee. Final two questions.
Jeremy Elliott, Harrisburg Patriot News, PennLive.com. Obviously, you're leading the chase now, so you probably like it. But is there any tweaks or changes you would make to this thing, make it better? Or is there anything in your mind that needs to change? Obviously, with the Richmond incident, and just with the way this thing's played out over the last few years.
To the, I guess I didn't understand the whole question. Change to the
chase and stuff.
Oh,
is there
gosh.
anything you change? As far as
you can ask the next guy that's coming in, he's won 5 of them under a bunch of different systems. So, gosh, I don't know. I think the best thing would be is to leave everything alone for a while. I mean, there's been so many changes, and when everybody talks about changing, point structures, point systems, chase, this and that, I mean, everybody looks at that particular year and says, "Oh, how could you change that?" And they'll change it, and so I don't know. I think it'd be great for the fans, competitors, for everybody to have some consistency for a while. And I think that's what NASCAR is looking at. I think after they made this last change 2 or 3 years ago, whenever it was, to simplify the point system, I think that was their goal, was to not change it for a while.
Final question, Lee, go ahead.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Can you just talk about what perhaps has been the biggest surprise since you got to Joe Gibbs Racing, as far as what they have to, what they have to offer there in addition to all the talent and the personnel?
Well, since I got there, I don't know if there's been a huge surprise. Obviously I'm pleasantly surprised with the races that we've won and the laps that we've led, but I don't know that anything was a big a huge surprise after probably the first time I went over there and kind of saw some of the stuff they had and how they did things and met some of the people. So I didn't really know what to expect, and I really had a really open mind when I went over there. And so I don't know that I didn't have any really preconceived notions and been like, oh, they got to do it like this or like that. I just kind of went over there and kind of observed and seen how they did things and tried to fit in and try to help where I could from there.
All right, Matt. Thank you
Thanks,
very much
guys.
for your time. Good luck this weekend.